All right, guys. So I thought we'd do a little bit something different. I'm gonna be ranking the subclasses today. Keep in mind, guys, this is just my opinion. I'm not gonna pretend like I've played every single one of these, but I am pretty well informed on which ones are, you know, really good and which ones are not. Um, like for example, I have tried College of Valor. I've played an entire campaign of College of Lore, College of Swords. I've done a lot of the Barbarian stuff. But yeah, let's just get right into it. So, College of Valor. Uh, it is the worst bard. Let's go A tier with it. Is that simply just because it's a bard? Uh, Bard as a class is an S tier class, especially if you're playing something like Honor mode and you really need the boost, from like Bardic Inspiration. Like right now on my Honor mode playthrough, I don't have my main character as a bard, but I have a bard in my party to give me those Bardic Inspirations when I really need it. Plus, you get great CC options and whatnot. College of Lore. I'll tell you what, we're actually going to go B tier with Valor, A tier with College of Lore, and S tier with College of Swords. I love College of Lore. You get you get two of the magical secrets with College of Lore. And that what's great about that with College of Lore is you can get Sanctuary. Now you might be thinking to yourself, there is a lot of great options. Why would you pick Sanctuary over that? Well, what you can do with College of Lore with yourself, you can haste someone and then Sanctuary yourself. And let's say you have someone in your party who is like a Tempest cleric, for example. What you can then do is they can cast water and cast call lightning, or if they have Marco Hashir's staff, they can do chain lightning on top of their call water that they just cast, and you can basically one shot a lot of like Ketheric Thorn, for example, with that kind of setup. You can one shot him. I've done it. And now you do have to get lucky with the roll, and like especially if you use the destructive wrath, you have to. Because if they succeed the saving throw, they only take half damage. So you might do like 50 damage, but if they don't succeed, you can do an easy like 100, 110 damage. You can get some pretty insane damage out of that. So yeah, I mean, College of Lore is a really good buffing class, and it's also really good at crowd control. College of Swords can do most of the stuff that College of Lore can, but can also be a high DPS character. So that's why College of Lore is better. I mean, College of Swords is better than College of Lore. And it honestly might be one of the best classes in the entire game, if not the best. Like, if you don't have at least one bard in your party, I feel like you're honestly kind of playing the game wrong, especially if it's honor mode. All right, Berserker. Now, Berserker, if you make a build for it and you multi-class, S tier, right? If you're not doing like a throwing build type deal, A tier, right? Like if you're not making a very specific build, it's like A tier or maybe even B tier. But because of its potential and the fact that you can multi-class it and make it one of the most busted builds in the game, we can put it in S tier. But I think standalone, it's just A tier. Wildheart, you can get some really crazy um, defensive options, but I feel like it's also going to be A tier for us. Like if you go, I think it's Heart of the Bear. You can basically take very little damage, even from bosses. I mean, it's kind of stupid how little damage you can actually take as a wild heart barbarian. But I don't feel like you get as much DPS as something like a paladin, or you don't get the versatility as a College of Swords. Life Domain Cleric, Esther. I mean, it's the best healer in the game. You don't necessarily need a healer, but it does help, especially if you're playing something like Honor Mode. Uh, it's just an easy S tier for me. Light Domain. Um, it's an A tier. You could put it in S tier, honestly, but I feel like it falls off later in the game. Yeah. If you know, you know. This is the starting class for Shadowheart. It's just I don't know. It maybe I'm playing it wrong. D tier, yeah. D tier, yeah. S tier. Now, some people are gonna say, "Oh, Light Domain is better than Tempest Domain." I don't think so, honestly. I mean, because you can upcast your Call Lightnings later in the game. So when you get like, okay, so later in the game, what you can do is now you can do this with most clerics, but you can cast a level 6 aid. Then you can regen that health slot with Spellcloak's Amulet. Right. Then you can use Marco Heshir Arcane Battery to then cast your feast, your bountiful feast. Ah, then there's and then you still have a level 6 cell slot, so you can cast like summon Cambion or something like that, right? And you would do that first before you did aid and your feast, so that your Cambion or your in this case you're going to use the Diva, right? So if you use the Diva, which I would recommend, or the Genie, either one, just depends on the situation. Then you get that health buff from all that, and then on top of that, now you don't have a 6th level spell slot after doing all of that. But I mean, you can easily get one by switching to one of the other arcane battery staffs. So then you can cast lightning with at level 6. But honestly, if you just stick with level 5, that's fine. And then if you have like a College of Lore or a sorcerer, for example, they can cast haste on you and maybe on someone else if it's a sorcerer. And if it's College of Lore, they can haste you, and then they can sanctuary themselves. But if they're not College of Lore, what you can do is your Tempest domain, you can cast lightning and cast water in the same turn, right? And if they have the Meko Heshir, what they can do is actually do chain lightning and water in the same turn, which is insane. And then they can sanctuary whoever cast haste on them. So, I mean, for me, that's better than Life Domain. For me, that's better than Life Domain. Can I switch? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna try to like put these in order. I would think Light Domain is better than these two, but well, yeah, it's probably not better than Berserker. But all right, and we're not gonna worry about putting those in order. They're all trash. So all right, War Domain, B tier. It's good. It's a good subclass option, but we're trying to rank these off of how good are they as a standalone. You know. So yeah, Circle of the Moon. You know, I've played with this a little bit, and now that they have changed things to where Tavern Brawler works with this, it's a very solid DPS option. It's also super tanky. Honestly, it really shines in something like Honor Mode because I mean it's just so incredibly hard for you to die because you just have so many times you can go into wild shape, and those wild shapes have so much health. Circle of the Land. Uh, this is one of those I've never actually played myself. Um, so I'm going to put it in B tier just because of, and that's simply from secondhand knowledge. That's not firsthand knowledge. It's pretty good, you know, but it's more of a role play. Same thing with like War Domain or College of Valor, Circle of the Spores. I have seen some insane builds for this. I have tried it a little bit myself. A tier. Battle Master, A tier. Eldritch Knight. Now, this is probably going to be my most controversial pick. S tier. Now, you're probably thinking, why is he putting Eldritch Knight at S tier? Well, I'm going to point out one simple spell that makes the Eldritch Knight possibly one of the most defensively sound options in the game. Shield. Now let's say you have, let's say you put the set of armor that you get, no spoilers, that has 21 AC, right? And then let's also say you put a shield on here that has 3 AC, right? And then you also have a perk that gives you another 1 AC. So that's 25 AC standalone, right? And you can even get gloves that give you another 1 AC or something like that. Let's just say 25. Then as reaction, you can get another 5 AC. So then 30 AC. Come on. Come on, guys. And then you get 3 attacks on top of that, which is what you would get anyway. And there's some really good one-handed weapons you can use. Uh, but yeah, champion, also A tier. But honestly, if we're gonna put them in A tier, these are both at the front of A tier for sure. I mean, fighter is, it's not super complex class, but it is definitely one of the best class. Champion is the best for multi-classing, honestly. Just because you get that, I think 3 levels in, you get a -1 uh for your crit rolls. Which is just, I mean, that's just a good thing to have. I mean, way of the open hand. Um, hmm. I know if you multi-class with this, it can be an easy S tier, but without the multi-classing the thief, it's probably just an A tier. Way of the shadow. We're gonna go with a C tier here. It's not as bad as these, but it's more of a role play thing. Way of the Four Elements, same thing. I mean, it's not terrible. Don't get me wrong, but it's not as bad as these. You could play through the game like this, especially if you're on like balanced difficulty, and you would be fine. Oath of Devotion, A tier. It's the worst paladin for sure. Oath of the Ancients, S tier, easily S tier. Oath of Vengeance, also S tier. Oathbreaker, also S tier. And I would put them in that order. Oath of the Ancients, Oath of Vengeance, and then Oathbreaker. You could say Oathbreaker is better, and I wouldn't argue. I mean, between Vengeance and Oathbreaker, eh. I kind of feel like Vengeance is a little bit better. Oath of the Ancients, I feel like goes right about here. Yeah, all of the Paladins are going to be better than your Eldritch Knight. But it is really good to have an Eldritch Knight. Because, I mean, you're just so tanky with an Eldritch Knight. I mean, and not only that, early game, you have access to a fighter who can also cast something like Grease, for example, which is a good CC. Uh, but you don't have to burden your wizard with casting that. And also, you get stuff like Magic Missile. Like there are several fights in the game that there's a ton of enemies around you and they only have 1 HP. Magic Missile, you know? And there's, a certain circlet that gives you 17 intelligence. So you don't have to spread really any points into intelligence. It's just such a good option. I feel like Eldritch Knight is very slept on. I cannot say that enough. Battlemaster is very good too, though. Like you could honestly like Battlemaster for me, you could put in S tier, but I mean I already have so much stuff in S tier. Beastmaster, B tier. Hunter, B tier. Gloomstalker. I feel like standalone, the rogue class is just not as good as some of the other things. Multi-classing any of these, especially Gloomstalker, you're gonna get a lot more out. Uh, I know you guys aren't gonna like this, but yeah, that's how I would rank that. And that's standalone, right? Where Rogue really shines is multi-classing, for sure. Yeah, I mean that's where it really shines. Sorcerer. Wild magic, we're gonna go C tier. Um, you can make it work, but especially if you're something playing something like honor mode, could you imagine losing a playthrough just because you got a bad from something stupid happened with your wild magic? Uh, Draconic Bloodline, an easy A tier. Early game, I would say this is probably S tier, but throughout the entire game, it gets questionable. Storm Sorcery, easy S tier. Warlock as a standalone class, I feel like is very mid. Um, yeah, for the Great Old One, you get Mortal Reminder. It's very good. You know, just if you get a critical hit, you cast Fear on your other enemies. The other two, we're gonna go B tier. Abjuration Wizard, S tier. For the same reason that Eldritch Knight is just so good. I mean, also you get. I also want to put this as a caveat. Abjuration Wizard, Act 1 and 2, is not going to be super good. But Act 3, and this goes for any wizard really, but Act 3, when you go into a certain little tower, it has so many scrolls that are just a game changer for any wizard. I feel like, honestly, any school of wizard could be an S tier if you're just taking that into account. But yeah, Abjuration. Mm, would I take an Abjuration Wizard over anything? I mean, we're gonna drop it down to A tier. It is super good. It could easily. It's kind of like Battlemaster. It could be an S, but I feel like this is really where it's at right here. Honestly, we're gonna put Oathbreaker into A tier. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna put Oathbreaker into A tier. I know I just changed my mind, but I just all right, all right. Conjuration School, B tier. Divination, B tier. Enchantment, B tier. Evocation, easy A tier. High A tier. Necromancy, A tier. Illusion, A tier. Transmutation, unless you're just using this for like a camp thing. I mean, yeah, and it's D tier. I don't know why Wild Magic wasn't in here, but Wild Magic is going to be a C tier. All right. So yeah, we have everything ranked. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. All right. So yeah, top classes for me. College of Swords, Tempest Domain Cleric, Life Domain Cleric, Oath of the Ancients, Oath of Vengeance, Eldritch Knight, and Storm Sorcerer. Now, honestly, anything like if you're doing an honor mode playthrough, anything in this S and A tier is gonna be perfectly fine. I mean, this is really your options. Um, if you're doing an honor mode and you're not subclassing, which if you're, let's be honest, if you're playing an honor mode playthrough, you're gonna have one or two multi-class builds going. But I mean, just Tempest Domain straight to level 12 is such a strong character. Same thing with Life Domain. I mean, it's just so strong. It really is. I cannot stress to you guys how strong it is. It's like, I would honestly say if you don't have some type of cleric in your party, you are doing something wrong. Like, I would go that far. Same thing with a bard. Like, having a cleric and a bard in a party is almost a necessity. The other two is where it's like a toss up, right? And see, the thing with bard is so for me, when I build my parties, I like to have two DPS characters that are just, more martially oriented. Preferably one that's based off of like finesse weapons, and the other one that's based off of strength, so there's not a conflict there. Uh, and then my other two characters are casters of some kind. I feel like that works the best. And one of the casters is going to be more like CC based or more healing based, while the other one's just pure DPS, right? So, the thing about Bard, for example, is you have options. You can go College of Lore or you can go College of Swords. Either one of those is good. If you needed more of a caster, like let's say you're running a Paladin already and you decided you're going to do a Berserker Barbarian or Wild Heart Barbarian or even a Circle of the Moon Druid, right? Well, then you can run College of Lore. And then you can have those two be your main DPS characters. And then with College of Lore, you could have a Tempest Domain Cleric. That's how I would like build that out. Or you could have like what I'm doing right now, College of Swords, Tempest Domain, have some type of Draconic Bloodline and Great Old One multi-class, which is really strong early game, by the way. Um, and then I have a actually Oathbreaker Paladin, but he was supposed to be Oath of the Ancients. I just accidentally messed it up. Uh, but yeah, and also I actually have Life Domain Cleric because I lost my Oath of the Ancients. Oath of the Ancients, I don't know if I talked about it, um, but the reason why Oath of the Ancients is so strong is you have basically just as much DPS as you would have out of Oath of the Vengeance, but you also can heal your entire party if they're close to you. And you get all of the, like, you just get, it's a complete package. It's support on top of being one of the best DPS characters in the game. I mean, what more do you want? Like, this character goes right up here, honestly. Oath of the Ancients. Like, these are the four best subclasses to me, easily. And if I had to just go top three, I would say these three. College of Swords, Oath of the Ancients, and Tempest Domain. And that's just pure, right? They're obviously, if you get into multi-classing, there's better builds. Like, but honestly, like even College of Swords is better if you multi-class. Like if you go College of Swords 10, right, and then you went like 2 into fighter, right? Well, all right, that's perfectly reasonable because then you get what's it called? Uh, Action Surge, yeah, and you also get the second one. It's just two great options there. Or you could even go like two into sorcerer or something like that for the constitution proficiency. Just like you could even go like into thief a little bit for two bonus actions. I mean, the last two levels of College of Swords you don't really need for anything. So you could multi-class that easily. But all right, guys, I think we're gonna end it there. This is just my personal opinion, and feel free to give your guys' own opinions down in the comments. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.